time to get tall with the Black Crowes. Going to talk a little bit about a very recent but very rare pressing from the Black Crowes, featuring some rarities coming right up. Alright, so if you've watched the channel before, you know I'm a huge Black Crowes fan. We've actually got several videos that we've shot about a bunch of different releases from the Black Crowes, which unfortunately become rare very quick most of the time. They have reissued recently a lot of their earlier studio records, but there's these odds and ends that come out, like the Freak and Roll set, the Wiser for the Time live set that we featured before. If you haven't seen that video, go back and take a look. And for whatever reason, this stuff comes out and it becomes very rare very quick. For those of you who may not know, the Black Crowes have a couple of studio albums that didn't quite even get a fair shake right off the top because they got buried before the albums came out. One of which was a record that they recorded called Tall. The other was a record they recorded called Band. Both of which were meant to be released right before records that went on to be commercially successful. They got shelved due to band infighting or production issues or quality of song issues, all to do within the band's inner workings, and we thought they were never going to come out. The Black Crowes ended up releasing all of that digitally some years back in a set called the Tall Sessions, and seemingly out of nowhere, a year ago or so, the whole set got released on vinyl. Black Crowes fans rejoiced. Many of us went out and bought it, and then out of nowhere it became extremely scarce and is very, very, very hard to find and quite pricey on vinyl now. So as usual, I'm doing a rundown video here to show you a little bit about it if you're just curious, and then I will give you my opinion on whether or not you should pay the current market value for the record. As far as the packaging goes, very, very simplistic on the outside, but still kind of cool. I actually like the front cover a great deal. I think the back leaves a little bit to be desired. I'm not even sure if that's Chris or Ed. It looks like it might be Ed to me, but just a very odd picture with the band logo in there. So packaging's not all that good on the outside. On the inside, though, really, really cool. Much, much better in here. You've got a lot of notes about the hows and whys of the record that I told you about, how they were recorded, why they weren't released. And then it flips over here. You've got the inner in here. I'll get into why that is in a minute. And then you've got more on the actual other record, Band, that was recorded. So the actual cover art and the packaging as a whole, pretty sweet. The reason why the gatefold is the way that it is because the 2 studio albums worth of material are spread over 3 LPs. And almost all of these rare Black Crowes releases, they say they're on tie-dye vinyl. Here, I would agree with that. That's fine. But then other records in the set don't quite live up to that. You've got this here, which just ended up turning out to be pretty much flat green. And then you have the third record in the set, ends up being like a bright orange, more of like a splatter look than anything. But for me, the actual look of the vinyl doesn't matter at all. It comes down to sound quality, and you don't have to worry about sound quality at all. They all sound fantastic. The music sounds as good as it's going to sound. So as far as this record goes, how do I feel about the quality of music on here? I'm a big, big appreciator of listening to bands as they evolve, and I happen to love the albums that this material turned into. So for me, this was a day one purchase because I want to hear that material and how it evolved into what got released commercially. Would I pay what the current market value is on this record? I'm going to say no as a huge Black Crowes collector, because as of the filming of this video, a regular copy of this, even in near mint open condition, goes for several $100s, and you can hear this material digitally, and I think that most folks would want to just save the money. The reason why I own this is because I did buy it before I didn't know it was going to skyrocket, but it did. But for as much as you might listen to the material on here, I think most Black Crowes fans, as opposed to listening to Tall repeatedly, would end up listening to the Amorica album, which is readily available and you can get for $20 or $30 at any record store. So my recommendation on this is, if you're a huge Black Crowes fan and you're a diehard and you come across a decently priced copy of it, for me a decent price on this would be about $100 or less, then by all means pick it up. If it's anything over that, I gotta tell you, I would pass on it and maybe hope for a repress or listen to it digitally until something like that happens. And then I really do think that although the material is good, I think you'd end up listening to the studio albums that they became anyways more than you did with the material on here. But as a big Black Crowes fan, as a big Black Crowes collector, I wanted to make sure to share all the ins and outs of it with you. So that is the one that we have, Black Crowes, the Tall Sessions, and Band 3 LP vinyl set.